Hello. Okay, welcome back. Thank you for joining me in today's class. We're going to look at the qualities of nouns. Remember, we're dealing with parts of speech. And in our last class, we defined nouns and the various types of nouns that we have. In today's class, we're going to look at those qualities that make nouns special or unique. That is, if you have, say, a couple of words in a passage or a sentence, and you want to describe each word based on the part of speech that that word belongs to, you want to look out for some unique attributes of that word. And as for nouns, they have special qualities. So we're looking at the characteristics of nouns. And one major qualities of nouns is that they can take two forms. They have two forms. A noun can be singular or plural. So nouns have two forms. It can be plural or singular. But then the way nouns form their plurals is very interesting because they don't all have the same pattern of forming their plural. One way you can have a plural form of a noun is by adding bound morphemes to that noun. If you recall, in our class on morphemes, we described some morphemes as free, some morphemes as bound. And then we describe those bound morphemes as affixes. So the process of adding bound morphemes to a noun to change the form of that noun is called affixation. Affixation. So you can have the process of affixation. Through this process, you can change a singular noun to a plural noun. Some of the bound morphemes that you can add to a noun are S, this one, this is the morpheme. You can add E, I, E, S, yes, you can add this one. You can add another bound morpheme, this one, E, S. You also have R, N, R, E, N. You also have E, N. These are some of the bound morphemes you can add to singular nouns to make them plural. S, I, E, S, E, S, R, E, N, and E, N. They are bound morphemes, and through the process of affixation, you can use these bound morphemes to make nouns from singular to plural. Let's see how that works. Okay. The way nouns make their plural will depend especially on the spelling of that noun. The last letter or letters of the noun will determine greatly to what extent you will add any of those bound morphemes. For example, you can take this as a rule of thumb, though for every rule, remember, there is an exception, but we're going to discuss both exceptions. If your noun ends in any other letter apart from these ones, apart from letter S, Y, or O, then you simply add S. So what I mean is you can add this bound morpheme S to any noun that does not end with S or Y or O. If your noun ends with S, Y, or O, you might need a different bound morpheme. You might need, say, this one. You might need this one or this one, depending. But if the spelling of your noun doesn't end with any of these letters, then you can simply add s to form a plural of that noun. I think that is very common. Many nouns form their plurals by simply taking s. Let's see some examples. We have a line here, okay? Cup, this is singular, cup. You have cups. Just add your vowel morpheme s and you have a plural of cup. Bag, you have bags. House, you have houses. Key, you have keys. Ring, you have rings. Valley, you have valleys. You add your s. Barb, you have barbs. Trees, monkeys. But then you will notice that key ends with y and valley also ends with y. Donkey ends with y also. That means these words contradict what I've mentioned here. How does that work? Yes, it's some of the exceptions that you find in any rule of grammar. This is the thing. If your y is coming at the end of the noun and the letter before the y is a vowel, then you can simply add s. If y comes at the end of that noun and the letter that comes before that y is a vowel, then you can add your s. You can still add this s. But if this letter before the y is a consonant, then you will not add s. You will add either es or ies, depending. For example, this word, baby, ends with a y, but the letter before the y is a consonant. I hope you still remember a consonant, what consonants are and what vowels are. If you're not sure what a vowel or a consonant is, don't worry, there's going to be a special class to describe all of that. So here we have a consonant, then your y is coming at the end. I'm not going to add s here to form plural. That will not be correct. Instead, I will have ies in place of the y. I will take away the y, and in place of the y, I will add ies to form my plural. So this is babies. That is because the y is preceded by a consonant. But if my y is preceded by a vowel, as I have here, e is the vowel, then I will just leave the y and instead I will add s to form a plural. I hope that is clear. So you can see donkey, donkeys, key, keys. If I should take away this y and put ies, I'm not sure you'll be able to pronounce that very well. The pronunciation will be complex. It will be very difficult to pronounce the word that way. So, even though I mentioned here that if your noun ends with y, you shouldn't add s. There is an exception. If your noun ends with y and the letter that precedes that y is a vowel, then leave the y, add s to make plural of that noun. I hope this is clear. We're going to get more examples, so if this is not very clear, don't worry. In our subsequent lessons, I'm going to explain this in more details. Okay, so let's take this out. And then you also notice that down here, there are some words. These are nouns ending in O, and they are forming their plural by simply taking S. And why is this so? Because I've mentioned here, I've listed O as one of the letters that will not take S as a plural. I've mentioned O as one of the ending letters that will not take S to form plural. But here, there are words. These are nouns ending in O, and they have S to form their plurals. This is also an exception because not all the words in English are originally English. There are many borrowed words in English language, words taken from other languages, and they've been kind of domesticated or made English words. So you can find solo in a dictionary as an English word, but it's not originally English. So for foreign words, this is the exception. Foreign words that end with O will still have S as plurals if those words are not originally English, and then the pronunciation too might not be a typical English pronunciation. For example, solo, you have solos. Piano, pianos. Hollow, hollows. Silo, silos. These are not originally English words, so they can take S to form their plural. But these are just few exceptions, and you can find this in writings. If you read books, if you read extensively, you're going to see some of those special words that can still carry S, even if the last letter is O. And if you look these words up in the dictionary, you're likely going to see the definition, the origin. You see the origin of these words, and that might make more sense to you why they still retain their S at the end to form plural, even though they end with O. Other than that, a typical English word will not carry S if the last letter is O to form plural. A typical noun in English ending in letter O will not form a plural by simply taking S. For example, you have mango. If you want to get a plural of mango, you will have to put ES at the end. You're not just going to add S to make the plural. You have tomato, tomatoes, potato, potato, you have potato. You don't add S to the last O to form plural. Potato, tomato, because they all end in O. But for foreign words like this, they still somehow carry the S to form their plurals. So, making of plural nouns is very interesting. You will add S if the last letter of the noun is not S itself, or Y, or O. But there are exceptions, so don't forget. If the word is a foreign word ending in letter O, then it's possible that it can still take S to form a plural. If the noun ends with Y, but the preceding letter is a vowel, then it is possible to put S to that noun to form plural. If you have, say, you have class. This is a noun ending with the letter S. You will not add another S to this word to form plural. Instead, you will add es. So you have classes. This is a typical example of a noun ending in s. So you don't add another s to it. Instead, you will add es. So any other letter apart from these three, with the exceptions of course, apart from these three letters, should take s. That is, if your noun ends in a letter like this, or this, or this, you simply just add s to it to form the plural form of that noun. Okay? So, a quick recap now. One major qualities of nouns is the ability to form plurals. A noun can be in two forms. It can be singular, it can be plural. Forming the plurals of noun will depend on some factors. And the way nouns make plurals is also very interesting. They don't all have the same format for making plurals. There are variations. One way you can make a noun into a plural form is by affixation. Affixation simply means adding bound morpheme to the free morpheme. So if that noun ends in any other letter apart from S or Y or O, then you will simply add this morpheme S to the noun to form plural. And here are examples. You can still find many other examples of nouns that can take S to form their plural. You can write them down, you can have a list of those nouns, and you can even put them in the comment section. If you also know some other nouns that are exceptions, like these ones, then you can put them in the comment section. If you have other nouns too that end with Y but carry S as their plural, then you put them all in the comment section. If you have any questions regarding all of this, you can also send your questions, put in your comments, and I will look at all of that. Okay, for now, this is it about plural forms of noun based on the process of affixation. We're going to look at other affixes, the other affixes that you can add apart from this one. You have, as I mentioned earlier, you can make a plural form of a noun by using this one, this one, this one, and this. All of these are affixes. They are bound morphemes that you can add to nouns to form the plural form. We've looked at this bound morpheme S. This is how you can use it. We're going to look at how to use this one, and this other two to form plurals of noun. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next class. Thank you.